Sarah Chen wiped the dirt from her hands and looked across the green fields. The sun was setting on new harvest, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. She smiled softly. This was her life now. Simple, quiet, safe. 15 years had passed since the war ended. 15 years since she was Commander Sarah Chen, the woman they called the Ghost of Sector 7. Now she was just Sarah the gardener, growing vegetables in vertical farms on a peaceful colony world. She wore long sleeves, even though the evening was warm. Underneath the fabric, her arms glowed faintly with bioluminescent scars. They were victory marks, given only to human soldiers who won impossible battles. The scars pulsed with her heartbeat, a constant reminder of who she used to be. New Harvest was special. People from many different alien species lived here together. Most of them were refugees who had run away from wars. They built markets filled with strange and wonderful foods. Children from different worlds played together in the streets. Nobody asked about the past here. Everyone was trying to forget and start fresh. Sarah had a few friends. They knew she was ex-military, but they did not know the truth. They did not know she was the legendary commander who turned the tide of the Human-Krell War. They did not know governments on both sides still argued about whether she was a hero or a war criminal. She preferred it that way. Her days followed a simple routine. Wake up early. Check the crops. Water the plants. Harvest the ripe vegetables. Sell them at the market. Go home, sleep, repeat. It was boring, and she loved every moment of it. No one was shooting at her. No one was dying because of her decisions. No alarms, no emergencies. Just dirt and seeds and sunshine. One afternoon at the market, everything changed. Sarah was selling tomatoes when a young Krell approached her stall. The Krell were tall, blue-skinned aliens with large eyes. This one looked barely 20 years old. He picked up a tomato and examined it carefully. "These are good quality," he said softly. His name tag read Tesh. "Thank you," Sarah replied with a practiced smile. "Grown them myself." As she reached to take his payment, her sleeve rode up slightly. Just for a second, the edge of her glowing scars became visible. It was barely anything, just a faint blue light. But Tesh saw it. His large eyes went wide. His blue skin turned pale, almost white. The tomato fell from his hand and splattered on the ground. He stumbled backward, his mouth opening and closing without sound. "Are you all right?" Sarah asked quickly, pulling her sleeve down. Tesh did not answer. He just stared at her arm, then at her face, then back at her arm. His breathing became rapid. Without another word, he turned and ran away through the crowded market. Sarah's heart sank. She knew that reaction. Tesh had recognized the pattern of her scars. Somehow, he knew who she was. That night, Sarah could not sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about Tesh's terrified face. Her secret was out. How long before he told someone? How long before military officials came looking for her? How long before her peaceful life ended? By midnight, she made her decision. She had to leave. Sarah pulled out her old military bag from under the bed. She packed quickly, clothes, credits, fake identification papers. She had done this before. After the war ended, she had disappeared 3 times already, moving from planet to planet whenever someone got too close to discovering her. Identity: she was sealing the bag when she heard a soft knock on her door. Her body tensed. Was it security? Military? She moved quietly to the door and checked the viewer. It was Tesh. He was alone, looking nervous and scared. Sarah opened the door slowly. "What do you want?" Tesh looked at his feet. "Please do not run away," he said quietly. "I am not here to hurt you or report you." "Then why are you here?" The young Krell took a deep breath. 23 years ago, I was a child on a colony transport ship. We were running away from the war. Human forces attacked us. We thought we were going to die." Sarah's hand tightened on the doorframe. She remembered that mission. She remembered disobeying direct orders. But then Tesh continued, his voice shaking. "A human commander came. She boarded our ship with her team. We expected execution. Instead, she evacuated everyone All 5,000 of us. She held back enemy reinforcements while we escaped to safety. She saved us even though we were the enemy. Even though she did not have to. Tears formed in his large eyes. That commander had scars on her arms. Glowing scars. I was just a child, but I never forgot that pattern. Today, I saw it again. On you? Sarah said nothing. Her throat felt tight. You are the ghost of Sector 7, Tesh whispered. You saved my life. You saved my mother, my sister, my entire colony. That was a long time ago, Sarah finally said. No, Tesh nodded. And I know you are hiding. I will not tell anyone. I promise. I just wanted you to know that I remember. I wanted to say thank you. He bowed deeply, a gesture of great respect in Krell culture, then turned to leave. Wait, Sarah called. Tesh stopped. Why come at night? Why not during the day? Tesh looked back with sad eyes. Because I saw how you reacted when I recognized you. I saw fear. I did not want to add to that fear by approaching you in public. After Tesh left, Sarah sat on her bed for a long time. She looked at her packed bag, then at her small home, the plants by the window, the comfortable chair, the life she had built. Maybe she was tired of running. Maybe it was time to stop hiding, but fate had other plans. At 3 a.m, Sarah's old military communication implant suddenly activated inside her head. She gasped in pain and shock. She had disabled that implant years ago. It should not work anymore. But it did. A voice crackled through her thoughts. Commander Chen, this is Admiral Rodriguez. If you are receiving this, then I apologize. I know you wanted to stay hidden. But we have a situation, a crisis, and I am afraid you are the only one who can help. Deep down, she had always known this moment would come. You could hide from many things, but you could not hide from destiny. And destiny, it seemed, was calling once again. She unsealed her bag, but instead of running away, she began packing different items. Medical supplies, old tactical gear, her service weapon, carefully hidden all these years. The quiet life was over. Sarah Chen looked at her glowing scars one last time in the mirror. For 15 years, she had hidden them. For 15 years, she had pretended to be someone else. But if people needed her, if lives were at stake, then maybe it was time for the ghost to return. Just this once, she told herself. Just one more mission. Then she could come back to her garden and her peaceful life. She believed that. Even though part of her knew it was a lie, destiny never let go that easily. Sarah sat in the dark, her hand pressed against her temple where the old implant burned inside her skull. Admiral Rodriguez's voice continued speaking directly into her mind through the neural link. Commander, a diplomatic vessel has been seized by extremists near the neutral belt. The ship was carrying treaty delegates for the Galactic Council meeting. Among the hostages is Ambassador Keen. Sarah's breath caught. Ambassador Keen, the human diplomat who negotiated the peace treaty that ended the war 15 years ago. Without him, millions more would have died. The group calls themselves the Reckoning, Rodriguez continued. They are extremists from both human and Krell forces. Soldiers who believe the peace was wrong. They think we should have kept fighting until one side was completely destroyed. Sarah stood up and began pacing. This was bad. Very bad. They are demanding the return of what they call war criminals. They want trials, executions. They have already killed 2 hostages to prove they are serious. They will kill one more every cycle until their demands are met. Rodriguez paused. When he spoke again, his voice was heavy with emotion. Chen, I am not ordering you. I cannot. Officially, you are dead. Your records are sealed. But these extremists are using old tactics. Tactics from the war. Your tactics, the ones you published in the battle journals before you disappeared, whoever is leading them studied you. They know how you think. Sarah stopped pacing. Her tactics. Someone was using her own strategies against innocents. The next execution is scheduled in 4 days. We cannot send in a military team without starting a diplomatic crisis. Both sides are watching. If we make one wrong move, the peace treaty could fall apart. The whole galaxy could go back to war. Rodriguez's voice became softer. I know what I am asking. I know you gave up everything to find peace. But if anyone can do this impossible thing, it is you. The coordinates and all intelligence data will download to your implant if you accept. If not, this message will delete itself, and I will never contact you again. The choice is yours, Commander. Rodriguez out? The implant went silent. Sarah sat down heavily on her bed. For days, 2 hostages already dead. Ambassador Keen's life hanging by a thread, and someone out there using her own tactics to commit terrorism. She could ignore it. She could delete the message and go back to her quiet life. No one would blame her. She had given enough, done enough, suffered enough, but she closed her eyes and saw faces. The thousands of people she saved during the war, the soldiers who made it home because of her decisions, the civilians who lived because she chose mercy over tactics. Ambassador Keen himself, who gave her a medal at the ceremony before she disappeared. Could she let him die? Could she let innocent people be executed when she might be able to stop it? Sarah opened her eyes. Download the intelligence package, she said aloud. The implant activated again. Data flooded into her mind. Images, schematics, audio recordings, information about the reckoning. Details about the hostage situation. She spent the next hour reviewing everything. The picture became clearer and worse. The diplomatic vessel was being held in an old mining station near the border between human and Krell space. The station had been retrofitted into a fortress. Heavy weapons, automated defenses, multiple redundant systems. Getting in would be nearly impossible. Getting out with hostages would be suicide. The Reckoning had about 40 members from what intelligence could tell. All of them were veterans, trained soldiers who knew combat. They would not be easy to fool or defeat. Sarah pulled out her old tactical pad and began running scenarios. Every plan she created ended in failure. The numbers were too bad. One person could not do this alone. She needed help. She needed her old team. At sunrise, Tesh appeared at her door again. He looked like he had not slept either. You were leaving, he said simply, seeing her military gear laid out on the table. Yes, Sarah admitted. No point in lying? To fight? To save people. Tesh pulled out a small data chip. Then you should have this. I heard about the hostage situation through unofficial channels. My people talk to each other across the colonies. We share information. This chip has everything we know about the Reckoning and their base. Sarah took the chip carefully. Why are you helping me? Because you saved me once, Tesh said simply. And because I am tired of hiding too. I was going to become a mediator, work for peace. But I have been too afraid. Watching you has taught me something. Sometimes you have to stand up, even when it is scary, even when it is dangerous. He looked at her with determination in his large eyes. Take me with you. I know Krell technology. The mining station they are using was built by my people. I can help. This is not your fight, Sarah said. It is everyone's fight, Tesh replied. Peace is not free. It costs something. If good people do nothing, then evil people win. I want to help, please. Sarah studied the young Krell. He was sincere, and honestly, she did need someone who understood Krell systems. But more than that, she understood what he was feeling, the need to do something, to stand for what was right. She had felt that same need 15 years ago. All right, she finally said. But first, I need to contact some people. This mission needs more than just us two. She pulled out her old encrypted communication device. It took her 20 minutes to get it working again. Then, she began sending out coded messages to 3 specific addresses. 3 people. Her old team. She did not know if they were still alive. She did not know if they would even receive the messages. She did not know if they would come. But she sent the same signal to each. A set of coordinates pointing to an abandoned shipyard in neutral space. And a musical phrase. The opening bars of Coming Home, a song they sang together after their final mission 15 years ago. To Dr. Marcus Webb. combat medic, who saved her life 6 times during the war. Last she heard, he was working at a station hospital somewhere, to Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka, the pilot who could fly anything through anything, the best pilot Sarah ever served with, to Sergeant James Okonkwo, the demolitions expert who made impossible things explode at exactly the right time. They were the best. Her family. Her team. If anyone could do this impossible mission, it was them, if they came. Now what? Tesh asked. Now we go to the coordinates and wait, Sarah said. We have 3 days until the next execution. If they come, they will come soon. If they do not, ... double quotes, she trailed off. Then we try anyway, Tesh suggested. Sarah looked at the young brave Krell and smiled sadly. Then we try anyway. She gathered her gear and took one last look at her small home. The plants by the window would die without care. The vegetables in the field would rot unharvested. Her quiet, peaceful life was ending. But somewhere out there, people needed help. Destiny was calling, and this time, Sarah Chen was going to answer. They left New Harvest that afternoon on a civilian transport. Sarah kept her head down and her sleeves pulled low. But for the first time in 15 years, she was not running away. She was running toward something. Toward duty. Toward justice. Toward one more battle, maybe the last one. The abandoned shipyard floated in the dark like a ghost. Sarah and Tesh arrived first, their small transport docking at the old station. Inside, everything was covered in dust. The air recyclers still worked, but barely. This place had been forgotten years ago, which made it perfect for a secret meeting. Do you think they will come? Tesh asked nervously. I do not know, Sarah admitted. She sat down on an old crate and checked her weapon for the 3rd time. It has been 15 years. People change. They have lives now. Families, maybe. I am asking them to risk everything. 12 hours passed. Nothing. Then, at hour 13, the shipyard's proximity alarm beeped. A ship was approaching. Sarah moved to the viewing port and saw a beat-up cargo hauler coming in fast, flying with the kind of reckless skill that only one person had. Yuki, Sarah whispered. The cargo hauler docked with a loud clang. The airlock opened, and out stepped Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka. She looked older, tired. Her flight jacket was worn and stained. But when she saw Sarah, her face broke into a huge smile. Commander, Yuki said. Then she ran forward and hugged Sarah tightly. I thought you were dead. We all did. I wanted you to think that, Sarah said, hugging back. It was safer. Yuki pulled back and looked at her. You look good. Like you have been eating vegetables and sleeping. I was a farmer? A farmer? Yuki laughed. The ghost of Sector 7 was growing tomatoes? That is amazing. It caught up quickly. Yuki explained she had become a cargo racer after the war, flying dangerous routes for money. She was good at it, but she had gambling debts. Bad people were looking for her. When she received Sarah's coded message, she did not hesitate. I was looking for an excuse to disappear anyway, Yuki said. Plus, I missed you. I missed this. She gestured around at the empty shipyard. I missed having a purpose. 4 hours later, another ship arrived. This one was a medical transport. Dr. Marcus Webb stepped out slowly, moving like every step hurt him. He had gained weight and lost hair. His hands shook slightly. Marcus, Sarah said softly. Marcus looked at her, and his eyes filled with tears. Sarah, God, Sarah, I am so sorry. I should have been there when you needed me. After the war, I could not. It is okay, Sarah said, pulling him into a hug. You did enough. More than enough. Marcus explained through tears that he became a trauma surgeon after the war, working in a busy station hospital. But the nightmares never stopped. He saw every patient as someone from the war. Someone he failed to save. He started drinking to sleep. The hospital put him on leave. He was 1 month from losing his medical license completely. When I got your message, Marcus said, wiping his eyes, I realized I have been dead for 15 years. Just a ghost walking around. Maybe this mission will kill me, but at least I will die doing something real. No one is dying, Sarah said firmly. We do this right. Everyone comes home. The last ship arrived just before the deadline. A small civilian shuttle, flying carefully and properly. Not like James Okonkwo at all. The big man who stepped out looked different too. He wore civilian clothes and had a wedding ring. He smiled when he saw the team, but it was a sad smile. Jimmy, Sarah said. Commander, James replied. He hugged everyone, his big arms wrapping around them all. I am so happy to see you all alive. So happy and so sad at the same time. James explained his life. After the war, he became a safety inspector for construction sites. Boring work, but safe. He got married 5 years ago. His wife was pregnant with their first child. He almost did not come. But I heard the song, James said quietly. Our song. And I knew someone needed help. I told my wife I had an emergency consulting job. I did not tell her the truth. I do not know if I can forgive myself for lying to her. You can still leave, Sarah said. I will not think less of you. I know, James replied, but I am here now. Let us do this thing. Sarah introduced Tesh to everyone. The team was surprised to see a Krell, but when Tesh explained his connection to Sarah, they accepted him immediately. All right, Sarah said, pulling up the holographic display of the mining station. Let us talk about the mission. And be honest, it looks impossible. The hologram showed the retrofitted station in all its defensive glory. Weapons platforms, shields, automated turrets. Multiple docking bays, all sealed. The hostages were being held in a central chamber, surrounded by guards. The Reckoning has about 40 soldiers, Sarah explained. All veterans. All trained? They know we might try a rescue, so they are prepared for everything standard. What about air filtration? James asked, studying the schematic. Sealed and monitored. We cannot gas them. Power systems. Marcus suggested. Redundant generators. Even if we shut down one, backups will activate. Can we shoot our way in? Yuki asked, not without killing the hostages in the crossfire. Everyone was quiet for a long moment. The mission did look impossible. Then Tesh spoke up. The mining station was built by my people 30 years ago. I studied the original designs in engineering school. There is something you should know. He manipulated the hologram, zooming in on the station's core. Krell mining stations use gravity wells to move or very powerful, very dangerous if they malfunction. The safety protocols are strict. Can we trigger a malfunction? Sarah asked. Maybe, Tesh said carefully. If we can get to the control center and override the safety systems, we can create a gravity cascade. It would not hurt anyone, but it would cause chaos. People would float, equipment would shift, alarms everywhere. Windows of opportunity, Sarah said, her mind already planning. Can you create the malfunction? James studied the schematic. If Tesh guides me, yes. But I would need to be inside the station to do it. Right here. He pointed to a location deep inside the fortress. And I would need to fly us through the defensive perimeter without getting shot down, Yuki added. Then we need a distraction, Marcus said. Something to make them look the wrong way while Yuki sneaks in. Everyone looked at Sarah. She rolled up her sleeves, revealing her glowing scars. In the dim light of the shipyard, they shone bright blue, pulsing with her heartbeat. They know my tactics, Sarah said quietly. The leader of the Reckoning studied me. He is expecting me to be sneaky, to hide, to use tricks. So what do we do different? Yuki asked. Sarah smiled. It was not a happy smile. We do the opposite. I walk in the front door, visible, obvious, alone. I give them what they want. Me. That is suicide, Marcus said immediately. No, Sarah replied. It is a distraction. While they focus on me, you all complete the mission. Save the hostages. Get them out. And what about you? James asked quietly. I will be fine, Sarah lied. They all knew it was a lie. But they also knew it was the only plan that had a chance of working. They spent the next hours refining the plan. Who goes where? When? How? Backup plans. Emergency protocols. It was like old times. It's the team working together like one mind. Finally, with 1 day left before the next execution, the plan was ready. Last chance to back out, Sarah told them all. No shame in walking away. No one moved. Then let us go save some people, Sarah said. They gathered their equipment, checked their gear, said quiet goodbyes, just in case. YUKI took the controls of her cargo hauler. Marcus prepared his medical supplies. James loaded his demolition tools. Tesh studied the station schematics one more time, and Sarah looked at her glowing scars. Thinking about the past and the future, destiny was calling, and she was finally ready to answer. Yuki's cargo hauler approached the mining station hidden among a debris field, flying slow and careful. The plan was simple. Drift close, attach to a maintenance port, and slip inside quietly. But the reckoning's sensors were better than expected. Alarms blared. Turrets activated and turned toward them. They see us, Yuki shouted, pulling the ship into a sharp dive. Weapons fire lit up the space around them. This is not going to be quiet. Abort? Marcus asked from the back. No, Sarah said firmly. Change of plans. Yuki, can you get us to the main docking bay? The main bay? That is insane. It will be full of soldiers. I know. Do it. Yuki cursed in 3 languages, but obeyed. She pushed the cargo hauler into a dangerous spiral, dodging weapons fire with incredible skill. The ship shook and screamed but kept flying, inside the mining station. Colonel Voss watched the approaching ship on his monitors. He was a tall human man with gray hair and cold eyes. 15 years ago, he served under Commander Chen. He learned tactics from her, fought beside her. Then she ended the war and disappeared, leaving soldiers like him to struggle with peace. Should we destroy them? His second asked. No, Voss said calmly. Let them dock. I want to see who is foolish enough to attack us. The cargo hauler crashed into the main docking bay more than landed. Zvuk. The airlock blew open, and smoke filled the area. Reckoning soldiers surrounded the ship, weapons ready. Sarah stepped out first, hands raised high. Her sleeves were rolled up, showing her glowing scars clearly. The soldiers gasped. Some stepped back. Others raised their weapons higher. Hold your fire. Bring her to me, carefully. 4 soldiers moved forward and grabbed Sarah roughly. They searched her for weapons, found none, and marched her toward the central chamber. As they walked, Sarah memorized everything. Guard positions, security cameras, patrol patterns, even captured. She was gathering intelligence. Meanwhile, Yuki, Marcus, James, and Tesh stayed hidden in the cargo hauler's smuggling compartment. She just gave herself up, Marcus whispered. Just like that. That is the plan, Yuki replied. While they focus on the commander, we move. James, Tesh, you two head to the gravity control center. Marcus and I will reach the hostages. We have maybe 20 minutes before they figure out there are more of us. They slipped out of the ship through a maintenance hatch and split up. Sarah was brought to a large transparent chamber in the station's center. Inside were the hostages, Ambassador Keen and 8 others from various species. They looked tired and scared but alive. Colonel Voss stood outside the chamber, waiting. When he saw Sarah, emotions flashed across his face. Anger, sadness, something that might have been joy. Commander Chen, he said softly, the ghost of Sector 7. I knew you would come. Planned for it. Hello, Voss, Sarah replied calmly. You have gotten better at tactics. I learned from the best. He circled around her slowly. Do you know what happened to us after the war? 2 soldiers like me came home expecting parades. Instead, we got questions. Investigations. People called us war criminals. Said we did terrible things. Some did do terrible things, Sarah said. We were following orders. Your orders sometimes. Voss's voice rose. Then you ended the war early. You negotiated peace when we could have one. You took away our victory and gave us shame instead. I gave you life, Sarah said. Everyone who came home alive, that was the victory. Life doing what? Voss shouted. Working normal jobs? Pretending we are normal people? We are warriors, Commander. It is what we are. What we will always be. You cannot just turn that off. Sarah looked at the hostages behind the glass. Ambassador Keen met her eyes and gave a small nod. He looked calm, trusting. So, your solution is terrorism? Sarah asked. Killing innocent people? My solution is forcing the galaxy to acknowledge us, Voss replied. Both sides have veterans who feel abandoned. Humans and Krell, who sacrificed everything and got nothing. The reckoning gives them purpose again. Murder is not purpose, says the woman who killed thousands during the war. Sarah flinched. That hit hard because it was true. Her hands were not clean. They never would be. Voss activated a communication broadcast. Suddenly, their conversation was being transmitted across multiple systems. Sarah realized this was his real plan. It's not just to capture her, but to put her on trial publicly. People of the galaxy, Voss announced to the cameras. I present Commander Sarah Chen, the Ghost, the woman responsible for some of the war's bloodiest battles. She stands before you now. I offer a choice. She can surrender herself for trial, by both human and Krell courts, answering for her actions during the war. Or, he pointed to the hostage chamber, execute Ambassador Keen and the others. You have 60 seconds. Sarah's team was scattered throughout the station. James and Tesh had reached the gravity control center, but the security was tighter than expected. They could not access the systems without alerting everyone. UKI and Marcus were pinned down near the hostage chamber by patrol routes that were too efficient. They could not move without being seen. The plan had failed. Sarah was alone, surrounded by enemies, being broadcast across the galaxy. In 60 seconds, people would die. She looked at her glowing scars. They pulsed brighter as her heart rate increased. For 15 years, she had hidden them, hidden herself. Hidden from responsibility and guilt and the weight of command. But she was tired of hiding. Sarah rolled up her sleeves completely. The luminescent patterns on her arms blazed with light. Each scar represented a battle. The Battle of Crimson Station, Salvation of Transport Fleet 7, The Last Stand at Kepler's Gate, dozens more. Each one a story of impossible odds and terrible choices. You've studied my tactics, Voss, Sarah said calmly. Her voice carried across the broadcast. You learned everything I published in the battle journals. You prepared for the Ghost Protocol for my tricks and strategies. I did, Voss confirmed. But you forgot the most important lesson I ever taught, Sarah continued. Humans do not win because we fight better. We win because we refuse to accept the terms of the battle. She turned away from Voss and spoke directly to the cameras. To the reckoning soldiers watching, to veterans across the galaxy, you are right, Voss. I did terrible things during the war. I made choices that killed people. I carry that weight every day. But you know what I do not carry? Regret for ending it. For choosing peace, she took a deep breath. To every soldier watching this, human or Krell, or any species, I say this. I see you. I acknowledge your sacrifice. You gave years of your life, pieces of your soul, to protect your people. That is real. That matters. History will remember. Some of the reckoning soldiers in the room shifted uncomfortably. But your sacrifice does not give you the right to hurt innocents, Sarah continued. It does not make terrorism noble. You think you are warriors? Warriors protect people. They do not murder diplomats and call it justice. Ambassador Keen stood up in his chamber, watching Sarah through the glass with pride. I am sorry, Sarah said, her voice breaking slightly. I am sorry that I won the war and then disappeared. I should have stayed. I should have helped you transition. I should have been there when you needed leadership. Tears ran down her face, glowing faintly blue like her scars. But I am here now, and I am not surrendering for your trial. I am surrendering for theirs. She pointed to the hostages. Let them go and take me instead. You want acknowledgement? You have it. You want the galaxy to see veterans' pain? They see it. But prove you are better than the monsters we fought. Prove you are heroes. Let the innocents go. Silence filled the station. Then something unexpected happened. One reckoning soldier, a young Krell woman, lowered her weapon. She is right, the soldier said quietly. This is not what I signed up for. I wanted to be heard, not to become a killer. Get back in line, Voss ordered. But 2 more soldiers lowered their weapons. Then 5. Then 10. Voss's perfect coalition was fracturing, and in that moment of chaos, Sarah's team moved. The moment the reckoning soldiers started lowering their weapons, Yuki and Marcus moved. They had been waiting for exactly this kind of chaos. Marcus sprinted toward the hostage chamber, while Yuki provided cover. Not with weapons, but with her voice. She is right. Yuki shouted to the confused soldiers, "We are better than this. We are better than terrorism." Some soldiers raised their weapons at her, but others blocked them. The reckoning was splitting apart. Veterans who wanted acknowledgement versus those who wanted violence. The division happened fast. In the gravity control center, James and Tesh made their move. With guards distracted by the broadcast, they slipped inside and accessed the systems. "Can you do it?" James whispered. "Yes," Tesh replied, his fingers flying over the Krell interface. "Starting the gravity cascade now. Hold on to something." The station's gravity wells began to fluctuate. Lights flickered. Alarms blared. People started floating as gravity cut out in sections. But Voss was not done. He saw his perfect plan falling apart. He saw his soldiers deserting. He saw Commander Chen standing there. Victorious again without even fighting, rage took over. Voss pulled out his weapon and aimed it at Sarah. "If I cannot have justice, then I will have revenge." He pulled the trigger. But Tesh appeared from nowhere, throwing himself between Sarah and the blast. The young Krell took the shot in his shoulder, spinning backward with the impact. No. Sarah caught him as he fell. Everything seemed to happen in slow motion. Marcus reached the hostage chamber and started overriding the locks. Yuki tackled a soldier who tried to stop him. James triggered the full gravity cascade. And suddenly, everyone was floating. In the confusion, more reckoning soldiers switched sides. They grabbed their former comrades who still wanted to fight. Veterans stopped veterans. It became clear that most of them never wanted murder. They just wanted to be heard. Voss floated in the zero gravity, still trying to aim at Sarah, but his hands shook with emotion. "Why?" he screamed. "Why are you always the hero? Why do you always win?" Sarah held the bleeding Tesh and looked at Voss with sad eyes. "I am not the hero, Voss. I never was. I am just someone who keeps trying, who keeps choosing hope over anger." Hope. Voss laughed bitterly. Hope did not bring our soldiers home. Hope did not give them purpose. Hope did not stop their nightmares. "You are right," Sarah admitted. "I failed them. I failed you. But this." She gestured around at the chaos, the hostages, the divided soldiers. "This is not the answer. You know it. Deep in your heart, you know it." Voss's weapon lowered slowly. Tears floated in the zero gravity like tiny crystals. Marcus got the hostage chamber open. Ambassador Keene and the others floated out, helped by soldiers who had switched sides. The rescue was happening despite everything going wrong, but Voss still had his weapon. He still had a choice to make. Then Tesh spoke, his voice weak but clear. "I was 7 years old when Commander Chen saved my colony ship. We were enemy civilians. She could have left us to die. No one would have blamed her." Blood floated around him in small droplets. Marcus pushed through the crowd to reach him. "But she did not leave us," Tesh continued. "She saved every single person. 5,000 Krell lives. Enemy lives. Because to her, we were not enemies. We were just people who needed help." He looked at Voss. "You want acknowledgement? You have it. Everyone watching this broadcast sees your pain. Everyone understands sacrifice now. But if you kill her, if you hurt these hostages, then you prove that everything you said was a lie. You prove you are not warriors seeking justice, just broken people spreading pain." Voss stared at the young Krell, then at Sarah, then at his weapon. Finally, after a long moment, he let the weapon float away. "I am so tired," Voss whispered. "So tired of being angry, tired of hurting." "I know," Sarah said gently. "Me too." The standoff ended not with violence, but with exhaustion. Voss surrendered. The remaining aggressive soldiers were subdued by their own comrades. The hostages were freed. Medical teams arrived within hours. Marcus worked on Tesh immediately. The shot missed vital organs, he said, his hands steady again for the first time in years. He will be fine. Brave and stupid, but fine. Tesh smiled weakly. I learned from the best. The aftermath was complicated. The broadcast had gone across multiple systems. Sarah's identity was public now. Her hiding was over. Military officials, diplomats, media, everyone wanted to talk to her, but something good came from it too. People saw what Voss said. They saw the pain of forgotten veterans. Both human and Krell governments were forced to acknowledge their failure to help soldiers transition to peace. Within weeks, new programs were announced. Counseling services, job placement, support groups. It was not enough, but it was a start. 3 months later, Sarah stood in a garden on Unity Station, headquarters of the Galactic Council. This was not like her garden on New Harvest. This one was bigger, shared by veterans from a dozen species. They grew food together, talked together, healed together. Sarah wore short sleeves now. Her glowing scars were visible to everyone. Some visitors stared. Others asked questions. She answered honestly. These were victory marks, yes. But they were also reminders of cost, of sacrifice, of the price of war. Admiral Rodriguez visited one afternoon. You did it again, he said with a smile. Impossible mission, perfect success. It was not perfect, Sarah replied, checking on some tomato plants. Tesh was hurt. The plan fell apart. We barely made it. But you did make it. And you changed things. The Galactic Council created a new department, Director of Reconciliation Services. They want someone to help veterans from all conflicts. All species. They want you. Sarah looked at him with surprise. Me? I am the one who needs reconciliation. Exactly, Rodriguez said. You understand both sides. Victory and cost. War and peace. You're perfect for this. Sarah thought about it. Thought about her quiet life as a farmer. Thought about hiding her scars and pretending to be someone else. But she was tired of hiding. And maybe this was why destiny kept calling. Not to fight wars, but to heal the wounds they left behind. Will my team be part of it? She asked. Already hired? Rodriguez grinned. Marcus is setting up medical services. Yuki is organizing transportation for veterans who need to relocate. James is teaching skills training workshops, and Tesh, training to be a mediator. He will be good at it. Sarah smiled and looked around the garden. Veterans from species that fought each other during the war were now planting vegetables side by side, sharing stories, laughing together. This was what victory really looked like. Not the end of fighting, but the beginning of healing. Later that evening, Sarah's team gathered in the garden for a small celebration. They did not drink alcohol. Most of them could not anymore. But they had juice and fruit, and the satisfaction of work well done. To the commander, Yuki raised her cup. For giving up her quiet life to save our loud ones, to second chances. Marcus added, his hands steady and strong again. To standing up, Tesh said, his arms still in a healing wrap. To family, James finished, showing everyone a photo of his newborn daughter. He had told his wife the truth. She was angry at first, but understood. Family meant sometimes doing hard things. Sarah raised her own cup, looking at these people she loved. 2 new victories. The kind that do not need weapons. The kind that build instead of destroy. They touched cups together and drank. The garden grew quiet as the sun set. Sarah walked among the plants, touching leaves gently. Behind her, veterans from different worlds shared meals and stories. Children played. Life happened. Destiny had called, and she answered. But this time, destiny did not ask her to fight. It asked her to heal. It asked her to build. It asked her to show that the scars of battle did not have to define you. They could remind you why peace mattered. Why every person mattered. Why choosing compassion over anger was the bravest thing any warrior could do, Sarah Chen. The ghost of Sector 7 had won many battles, but this was her greatest victory, not defeating enemies, but helping them become friends, not hiding her scars, but using them to help others heal theirs, not running from destiny, but shaping what destiny meant. She had been a warrior, then a farmer. Now she was something new, something the galaxy needed, a bridge between war and peace, between pain and healing, between yesterday and tomorrow, and in her garden on Unity Station, surrounded by former enemies who were now family. Sarah finally found what she had been searching for all along, not just peace, but purpose and peace, not just survival, but meaning and survival.